Have you thought about becoming financially free through real estate investing, but don't have the time or knowledge to get started? Welcome to the Real Estate Cowboys podcast. Each week, we discuss passive income investment opportunities in the red-hot Texas market. John Larson and the Real Estate Cowboys will show you how to leverage their team to build wealth in real estate through passive investment opportunities. And now, here's John.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about the different ways that real estate pays you, okay? And especially when you're a landlord and you're owning rental properties. A lot of new investors or people that aren't very sophisticated in this type of model, they just look at a rental property and they think, well, what's the rate of return on the cash flow generated from the rental income? Yeah. That's usually the go-to. From there, most people are going to think about, well, the equity, appreciation, right? Property goes up in value. I got some dollars in there as well. So I do a refinance or I sell the property, I'm actually able to make that equity tangible. That's another rate of return that I can get on my investment. Yeah. But there's other ways that real estate pays you, and one of the big ways is the tax benefits, and that's what we have Howard on the show today to talk about. But outside of taxes, you got to think. You leverage property, which I'm a big advocate of taking advantage of this Fannie Mae finance that's out there, right? 20% down, 25% down. Fannie Mae is going to cut you a check for the majority of that property, and then we're going to stick a tenant in there that's going to pay your principal and interest payment each month, right? Absolutely. So that's another way that real estate pays you. Now, let's say also you buy a property for $100,000 and the appraisal comes back at $110,000. Mm-hmm. That's something I like to call about equity capture, instant equity, okay, in a property. Another way,
I call it making money at the purchase.
Absolutely. Another way that a lot of people don't talk about this is the hedge against inflation. Sure. You know, so you lock in a loan today at 5%, 5.25%, whatever it may be. We know as years go on, inflation goes up, right? Yeah. So those dollars, those purchasing dollars, they're not as strong, right? So that's another big way that real estate pays you. So we're going to kind of touch on all those ways a little bit further in the show down the line with Howard. But let's just give a real quick example of a way that all these opportunities can pay you back on real estate. So let's say you purchase a $100,000 home and you get a $20,000. You only have to put $20,000 down, right? Sure. You get an 80% loan. So you're only out of pocket $20,000 for this property. And now let's say after a year that property appreciates to $108,000, right? That right there, that 8% increase, because you only put $20,000 down and it just increased $8,000, that's a 40% rate of return right there. Absolutely. Just on appreciation. And
it's also something that's happening quite often in the DFW markets.
Which is why I love Texas and Dallas so much, right? So that right there is going to get you a 40% rate of return in year one. How many investment opportunities out there are going to be able to get you that? Yeah. Not many. So then from there, let's say that your property let's be very conservative. That property cash flows $100 a month, and that's after maybe some repairs or maintenance here. Maybe you have a little vacancy time frame. But $100 per month, that's $1,200 per year on that initial down payment of $20,000. That's an additional 6% return, okay? And then after that, you're talking about your principal pay down by the tenant, right? Yeah. Now, let's say you're paying that rental income that's coming in, $100 of that each month goes to the principal pay down. That's another 6% return, okay? And then now going into taxes, where really, if you hire the right person, the right CPA who's very knowledgeable when it comes to all the ways that you can take advantage of write-offs by being a landlord and with rental properties, you can see another 40% rate of return on your money just by taking advantage of all those write-offs.
But, John, it's just not about taxes, though. You know, I love the concept of alignment before the assignment, right? Just in terms of getting involved in a turnkey product with a turnkey company. That's why it's so important to get involved with you guys and the Real Estate Cowboys, right? Because from there, not only do you get the benefit of using you and myself, but we're also going to bring somebody like Howard later on that can kind of take us through a process to where you make money.
Exactly.
What I love about real estate investing is not just about, the concept of slaying the dragon in the house. It's about making and saving money. Even Amanda needs to start thinking about what? Making and saving money. And that's what this is about.
Exactly. And if you take advantage of all these ways that real estate pays you, really you can start multiplying your rental portfolio with no additional money out of pocket.
Sure.
You start with one or two homes. 5 years down the line, you could be up to 10, and you wouldn't even have to come out of pocket with any additional funds, right? These properties, if you do it the right way and you work with the right team, they pay for themselves.
Sure.
Okay? And so, I also want to talk about, and we're going to delve into this a little bit further, the top 10 tax deductions that are out there for landlords. Okay? And the number one thing is depreciation.
Well, I want you to get into that with Howard. Let's wait to bring Howard on. Let's get into that. Can we bring Howard in?
Yeah, we're about to bring Howard in, so we're going to take a quick little break here. But coming up, we're going to talk to Howard because there's so much stuff. You guys have covered so many amazing topics so far, and I know Howard has all the answers and all the tips. So make sure to keep it right here. In the meantime, head to our website, realestatecowboysdfw.com. Check out everything you need to know about real estate investing in there. And coming up, we are going to talk to Howard Schulman, CPA with more than 40 years of experience. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Did you know there are 6 different ways real estate pays investors? Are you interested in getting started with real estate investing but just don't know how? Investing in real estate can be challenging, especially if you don't have the time, experience, or resources to do so. At American Real Estate Investments, they do all the hard work for you. They're a DFW-based company that buys homes in great neighborhoods, professionally renovates them, and places business professional tenants in your property. With their program, you can start earning headache-free passive income and equity growth from appreciating values in the fast-growing DFW market. There is no better place in America to invest in real estate today. To learn more about how their investors are earning up to 100% returns or greater with their program, give them a call at 888-323-AREI or visit their website at areiusa.com. That's 888-323-AREI or areiusa.com.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Cowboys radio show. Today we are talking about taxes and real estate investing. We have a very special guest on, and I know you guys are really eager to get to Howard, so I'm going to let you take it away and bring in Howard.
I'm never really that eager to get to Howard. He's kind of like a grumpy young man. He's only about 2 years older than me, but I do really appreciate him. He's actually my personal CPA, and he fusses at me quite often. Every chance he gets, actually. He criticizes.
That keeps you in line, though. I think that's a good thing for you, Johnny.
It is. But every now and then, it's like, Howard, give me a break. I'm doing my best. Well, your best is not paying the bills, son.
And that is why we have Howard.
That's why we have Howard.
He's going to keep us all in line.
Definitely. Howard Schulman is my friend. He has plenty. He got too many years of experience. I told you, he always tells me he's got underwear older than me, but we won't get into that conversation right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and just turn it over to Howard Schulman. Howard, tell him who you're with and all that stuff, too.
Well, I'm a partner with Bullock, DePerta, Schulman, Seeger. I started in upstate New York as a CPA, and a Mexican restaurant chain thought they had a major tax problem, so I came down here, met my wife, and ended up in Dallas.
The rest is history.
Yeah. But be careful with Johnny betting against him on the golf course. He's pretty tough.
They don't tell all my business. You're giving away my tricks out.
Anyways, by the way, I thought there was a great intro by John Larson. I just thought he kind of missed two things that, in my years of experience, and I've had some clients make a fortune, at least what I thought was a fortune, in the real estate industry. In fact, one I mentioned that John was a Harvard lawyer, one of the best appellate attorneys in New York State, who made his real fortune in real estate, not from practicing law. In fact, he didn't have to charge for his services. But John, two things I think that it's important for people to realize is real estate, relatively speaking, is about as secure as investment with the least down risk of anything. Because remember some of the downturns in real estate that we've had in the past 30 years here in Dallas. In 3 years, most of that real estate already came back up in value plus.
Yeah, that's a great point.
All right, so I think you got to remember that all in all, real estate is about as secure an investment as you can have. And the other thing that I like about real estate is that you control the investment. When you invest in the stock market, you're dependent on what the CEOs of these other companies are doing, and you don't know if they're cooking the books. You don't know if it's straight or not. And the other problem with it, if you invest in mutual funds, heavily in mutual funds, they have so much money to invest, they have to invest in some losers, and they cannot get rid of those losers all at once because they'll usually investing millions of dollars, and you can't just get rid of $1 million in investing like that. So I think overall, for somebody who wants to really build up wealth, they can do it in real estate and build up a business with real estate.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense, Howard. So right before we went to break, I want to get into the top 10 tax deductions for landlords. And number one on my list is depreciation. And so there were some new things that changed with depreciation that actually helped real estate investors even more with the bonus depreciation. So can you kind of walk us through what that looks like and how depreciation is a great tool when it comes to write-offs on real estate investment?
Well, depreciation is by far, from a tax standpoint, the greatest thing that you have going. For example, if you invest in good real estate, does it really depreciate in value, or are you buying it expecting it to appreciate, especially with inflation? You are, over the years, expecting it to appreciate. The building itself, the structure, can be depreciated over 27 and a half years. But many CPAs don't ask the question, what personal property is in a building, whether it's commercial or residential? Personal property can be actually elected to be expensed or depreciated over 5 years. And I'll pick one common piece of thing in a property. How about carpet? How often do you see in rental property carpeting? That is personal property. Or light fixtures, for example, or appliances. All these things can actually be elected to be expensed. In the worst case scenario is on residential property. It's over 27 and a half years. Basically, that's about 3%. All right, or 4%, however you want.
3.6, Howard. 3.6 is what
You're exactly correct. 3.636. But if you are depreciating it like that, you're now getting, and let's say you get even a modest 2%. Would you say 2% is extremely low or modest?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so at the worst case scenario, if you have a $100,000 piece of property, you're getting effectively a 3 or 2% return plus another 3.5% return. You're getting 5.5% with what I consider to be extremely low risk investing. Like I said, real estate is about as secure as you can get.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so, one thing I noticed with the new tax reform on the bonus depreciation, that used to only be, 50% for a new asset, right? But now they're also including used assets as well. So before, it made more sense to go and buy a brand new property and use it as a rental.
Well, and here's something that's very big. If you are now commercial, if you buy a piece of property that's rented out for retail or for a restaurant, which is really a class of retail, you can write off the first $250,000 of leasehold improvements. I mean, depreciation is big, but one of the other things that you haven't even mentioned, and you alluded to, is you can sell these properties too. You hold a piece of property for over 1 year, but let's say 10 years, you are now getting capital gain treatment, which is much less than your ordinary income tax rates.
Right.
So that's a big thing that people kind of forget about.
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So another thing I have on here is mortgage interest. So we advocate leveraging these properties, right? Take advantage of the money while you can, right? We still have low rates, under 6%. If you're putting 25% down now today, I think you're at 5 to 5.25, something like that, on a 30-year fixed loan. Now, you're also able to, am I correct in this, deduct the mortgage interest that you pay each month on the property.
Oh, yeah. You can deduct all the interest fully. It's not limited at all. It can be a $2 million property versus your homestead is limited, but rental property has no limitations. It's more like a business. Any expense you incur in that business is tax deductible. For example, if for some reason you want to drive over to the house and pick up the rent, or you have a piece of property in Denver, so you decide you're going to fly up to Denver because once a year you want to check out that property. That trip to Denver, to the extent that you're there for the property, it's tax deductible. So all travel expenses related to it, any repairs. One of the things that is a little looser, they've tried to tighten up, but at the same time they've made it a little safer, is if you make an improvement, you're supposed to depreciate it. But if it's within 10% of the rental, and it's an improvement, you can expense it and nobody will say anything.
That's great. And you actually just hit number 3, 4, and 5 on my list. I had repairs. I had local travel. And so you could do it one of two ways. You could just write off the gas, the upkeep of the vehicle, repairs of the vehicle, or you could just do the standard mileage rate. Either or.
Correct. Usually just because of the small amount of mileage that is average in most real estate, it would be 53 and a. You just use the 53.5 cents. However, it's not just managing the property. Let's say you are actually active and out driving around looking at the property versus relying on you to acquire the property for them, all right? That also is a business expense because you're out looking for the property.
Right. And so I know a lot of investors that invest with us in California or other areas around the country, and they like taking advantage of the long-distance travel write-off because, yeah, they have a property here, but maybe they have some family here as well, right? It's an opportunity to go check on your property and still see your family, write off, hotel, airfare, things of that nature.
John, it's just about knowing the code. The thing. There we go. I'm looking at Howard. He's taking his shoes off. He's gotten real comfortable. I got to look comfortable myself. But anyway, it's just about knowing the code. One thing I'll say about Howard, I tell you, he's my personal CPA. I got into a full-fledged fight with the IRS. Howard just bullied him. I was afraid to talk to him. He said, don't be afraid. Let me call for you. And before I look up, it's resolved. So you have to have somebody that not only just knows the code or knows the code, in its totality, but also somebody that knows how to work it. So I always say the tax code was written for individuals with money so that you can leverage it and make it work for you. And Howard brings that to the table. So I think you can be really comfortable with your clients. And for those of you that call on Howard, and I think you should, this is my ringing endorsement, right, that he's going to get it done for you. We got 30 seconds, Howard.
Well, all right, real quickly. If you've got a group of properties and you're running a business, think about you're running a business. Any expenses you incur in conducting that business, it's usually tax deductible. In fact, I can't even think of an exception to that rule.
Yeah, we got some more deductions that we're going to run through with Howard and get into more information on all the different tax benefits that you have by being a landlord and owning rental properties when we get back. Right, Amanda? Yeah,
we're going to talk about any good teas you would like to leave the people with, Howard, something that we're going to talk about coming up.
Not at the moment, but I'll think about it.
We're going to come up with good stuff. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Sunday morning. We're going to be back to talk more with Howard coming up. Keep it right here.
Looking to complete a 1031 tax-deferred exchange and are needing financing for your replacement properties? Let Graham Parham at Highlands Residential Mortgage guide you through the process and make your 1031 exchange go smoothly and on time. As a seasoned investor, Graham owns several investment properties himself, and he can share with you the best way to plan your exchange. Graduate into a better property or properties and make use of leverage to obtain better cash flow and higher returns on investment. Highlands Residential Mortgage has one of the best in-house loan processes to deliver your loan on time and without any surprises. We are 1031 exchange friendly. Call Graham's toll-free direct number today at 855-326-6802 for your free mortgage consultation, or visit us online at texasinvestorloans.com. Highlands is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 195724, located 1201 North Central Expressway, Dallas, Texas 75234. Highlands Residential Mortgage, NMLS 134871, is not a financial advisor.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Cowboys radio show. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. So we are in the middle of a great discussion here. We are talking about taxes when it comes to real estate, how to save you money, how to take advantage of it. We're going through a list right now of the top 10 deductions and also some tax tips. If you missed our previous segment or if you would like to see the whole list, make sure to head to our website, realestatecowboysdfw.com. So let's bring back in Howard Schulman and a great conversation you guys were having.
We should have been recording, off the air. I feel like you're going to start charging me more, man. Stop talking. Look, this is phenomenal, information. Just let's don't stop. Let's just go right back into it, John.
Yeah, so I'm at number 6 on my list. I put home office. So a lot of my investors, they own their properties in an LLC, and they've set up a business. So Howard, would they be able to take advantage of any home office expenses or anything like that?
Step on some toes.
Again, if they have a business, a home office is logical unless you have a regular office. But if you only own 1 or 2 pieces of property, even 3 pieces of property, I would not consider that a business.
Okay.
Now, let's say you take somebody who's active and is running 15 properties, even just private homes. I would say at that point you've definitely reached the business, and you have a reason for having an office and home. You have to have a logical reason. It is not the red flag that people think it is, but it really has to be an office that you are using for the business.
Right. So I would just say be careful of that. Don't take advantage of that. You need to be at 10, 15 properties, something like that, before we can start qualifying your home office as an expense.
Correct. And if you actually have an home office, like I said before, anything ordinary and necessary you use for the business is deductible. If you're using your cell phone, at least 50 to 60% to managing your property, hell, I take 100% of it. How about the internet? Do you use the internet to find properties, to do something, MLS and whatever? Then certainly the internet is deductible.
Makes sense.
And and if you're using the internet, you would have a computer. You'd be sitting at a chair. You'd have a desk.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all.
The list goes on.
This is a safe time to say that it's very important for you to just have a great real estate professional or a tax counselor in general to make sure you're doing it right. Because when those people show up, you want to make sure you have all these ducks in a row, right?
I'm being redundant here. Remember what I said. I'll rephrase it this way. If you do something in business and incur an expense that's ordinary and necessary in that business, it's deductible.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why it's so important. If you're going to start being a real estate investor, you need a professional like Howard helping you out to make sure that you're taking advantage of all these things that the government's just giving you.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Take advantage of all this stuff. That is why people invest in real estate. This is one of the main reasons, in my opinion. Too many people get caught up. What is my rate of return on my cash flow for my rental income? What happens if you have to replace a roof this one year? Well, one, you're going to be able to write off the expense. That's your cash flow for the year. It's
John,
a loss.
I'll take it a step further. Too many people get caught up in why don't these big organizations pay taxes? Because they're using the tax code to their advantage.
Exactly.
What we're telling you is you can do the same thing on your level as long as you have the right person helping you. Is that fair?
That's absolutely fair.
I also want to point out something that you brought up. You said a lot of people are going LLCs on their rental properties to protect them from lawsuits, or that's what I'm assuming. And I got an investor in real estate actually called me from New York and invested in a lot of real estate here, and I was referred to her, and I discovered she was relying on LLCs and the lawyers to protect her and had a crappy insurance companies and crappy insurance policies. I would say it'd be more important to less have the LLC and having good insurance. I think, John, you would agree with me. Don't be cheap with your insurance. Make sure you have good insurance policies on your properties.
Howard, I like that you just led me into that because insurance was number 9 on my list of deductions. So any premiums, Howard's basically saying take advantage of some of these premiums, right? So, fire, theft, flood insurance, and any landlord liability insurance is also tax deductible.
Right. And if it's investment versus a casualty loss, you're correct. If an investment casualty,
I just want you guys to know there are karate moves going on in here right now.
I just because I love this stuff so much. I just had to hop out of my chair and do a karate move.
Boy, you are enthusiastic. That's for sure. No,
you didn't know what you were getting into today, Howard.
No, I didn't.
He knew what he was getting into when I called him.
No. If, for example, a personal casualty loss has to, if you have adjusted gross income of $100,000, actually has to exceed $10,100 to be deductible. But if it's a business loss, rental property, then it's not subject to that 10% limitation.
Gotcha. So I had employees and independent contractors on there. So whenever you hire anyone to perform a service for your rental, you can deduct their wages as rental as a business expense, right?
Correct.
And then casualty and theft losses. So I know a lot of investors that like to buy those C and D class properties that aren't in the best neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I would say so. Theft and crime is a little bit more prevalent in those areas. So Howard, if they were, let's give a hypothetical situation here. A property goes vacant.
Somebody
you hire some
strips all the
crews.
copper.
Yeah, you hire some crews to go and start doing the renovation. Let's say I just install a brand new furnace, and then that night someone breaks in and steals it. Am I getting some sort of tax benefit for that?
Yeah, because it's going to increase your repair for
Right.
the property. So yes, you'll get it.
You're not necessarily getting the tax benefit.
Yeah.
You're just taking advantage of the law.
Taking advantage of the loss, right?
Yeah, because you just had a loss. I'm going to say though that for the most part, you're going to make better returns buying property where land and real estate is appreciating versus depreciating.
You're preaching to the choir right now. That's pretty much what I focus on. Is properties where I could leave the house unlocked. No one's going to go in there and break into it.
Yeah, but John, what's happening is people are watching, all these TV shows, and they're going into these horrible neighborhoods. And please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I've gone into a lot of horrible neighborhoods, and I love horrible neighborhoods. Okay, me personally, right? But with that stated, you want something that's going to keep giving. You don't want to have to give all your resources to the property. You want the property to give its resources to you, specifically in your pocket. So I think appreciation is one of the greatest benefits of buying right. And I commend you guys. From day one, that's what you all been preaching.
That's all we preach.
It certainly is. But that's why I would advocate buying it in good areas. Now, if you're extremely wealthy, well, then you can afford to buy the property in bad areas, wait till it turns around, because eventually what's bad is going to turn around, but is it going to turn around in your lifetime?
Right.
Or is we looking at 75 years from now?
Right. Well, we're seeing that process accelerating in a market like Dallas, which, Dallas, I read a stat the other day, most new people moved to Dallas out of the entire country. Almost 150,000 people moved to Dallas last year. Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of these areas going through this gentrification process a lot quicker than you would in other major metros across the U.S.
Yeah, but you got people moving in also from the San Francisco area, the Chicago, Illinois area, the New York City, the Connecticut area. And to them, this looks like a God haven cheap place
they're
to
coming
buy.
in. Yeah, they're coming in. They're buying mama a house, the daughter a house, them a house, then a summer home.
Exactly. Well, we're going to be going to a break in a second, and I'm going to keep you around a little bit longer, Howard, because we're having a great conversation here. But the last thing I have on here is legal and professional services. So that's where you come in. So a CPA services can be written off, right? An attorney, if you had to hire an attorney to maybe do an eviction or something like that, that service can be written off. And then also, if you're outsourcing your property management, which I recommend you do, because we're all talking about passive income here,
Sure.
And if you're buying rental properties and managing them yourself, that's a full-time job,
Yeah.
Okay? So I recommend hiring a property manager. Those property management fees that you pay each month are also tax deductible.
Yeah, that's why the property management. You can do property management with one or two pieces of property, and I have seen it. But that's why I like having 10, 15 properties. Now it becomes a business. The property management company, in my mind, becomes much more useful. And or if you build yourself up to 25 properties, you might want to just hire your own property manager.
All right, well, we're going to go to a commercial break here, like you said. But since Howard has so much good information, we're going to keep him a little bit around. If you're just tuning in, we were talking today about taxes when it comes to real estate. We've been giving you some great deductions, the top 10, I believe, also some great tax tips. So if you missed out on some of those, if you would just like to hear them again, or if you want to get a hold of Howard, ask him some questions. We have all of that on our website. Head to realestatecowboysdfw.com. One more time, realestatecowboysdfw.com. We'll be right back.
Did you know there are 6 different ways real estate pays investors? Are you interested in getting started with real estate investing but just don't know how? Investing in real estate can be challenging, especially if you don't have the time, experience, or resources to do so. At American Real Estate Investments, they do all the hard work for you. They're a DFW-based company that buys homes in great neighborhoods, professionally renovates them, and places business professional tenants in your property. With their program, you can start earning headache-free passive income and equity growth from appreciating values in the fast-growing DFW market. There is no better place in America to invest in real estate today. To learn more about how their investors are earning up to 100% returns or greater with their program, give them a call at 888-323-AREI or visit their website at areiusa.com. That's 888-323-AREI or areiusa.com.
All right. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday so far. Welcome back to the Real Estate Cowboys radio show. Get your, Howard, we like to call it here, your cup of cowboy coffee.
Right.
But we've been told sometimes that coffee may have a little bit of whiskey in it, which makes it an official cowboy cup of coffee. So it might be a little early for that.
Not me on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. So we are talking about real estate and when it comes to taxes. And we've been joined this show by Howard Schulman, who is a CPA with more than 40 years of experience. I'm going to let you guys get back into it because we got a few more minutes with Howard. You're so good. We had to keep you around for 3 whole segments.
All right.
Yeah, last thing I want to touch on was vacation rentals. So last week we had David Keener on the show, who's a partner of mine where we do vacation rental opportunities in Belize specifically. But I wanted to touch on vacation rentals a little bit because that's also popular. It's a popular investment option. So from what I've heard, Howard, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, you can rent out a vacation home virtually tax-free in some cases, but what type of boxes do I need to check?
Well, I don't know, tax-free. If you're making a profit, it's still profit. But if you use the property 2 weeks or less than 10% of the number of days rented, you basically get all the full tax benefits of your expenses against the income, and you get to use the property for 2 weeks out of the year. Most people I know that comes to time sharing, for example, I've yet to see that make sense to me. But good vacation properties is not a negative. I would say that's a positive versus timeshare.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're doing a fractional ownership model. A U.S. LLC buys a Belizean LLC, and there's partners that own the property. And each of them use about 2 weeks a year. That's exactly spot on. So, no, that's great. That's very helpful information. Amanda, let's turn it over to Mr. Collins for this week's motivational message.
Yeah, so I'm glad Howard is here because, Howard, at this time every week we have Johnny Collins' weekly words of motivation. He leads us to something. So since you like to give Johnny a hard time, we're going to let you be tell us if it's good or not, if you like the motivational words he leaves us with. So, Johnny, you're on the spot.
First of all, let me just say this. I'm not going to give him a chance to do that because I'm going to incorporate him. Howard.
That works.
I love the concept of the cost of fear. You know, what it costs people to just simply sit on the sideline or stay on the sideline, as I like to say, and not get in the game. One thing that I've watched, responsible people with good minds, with clear objectives, sit on the sideline, make maybe $150,000 a year with joint incomes in the house and save, aggressively and just do a good job. But what I always say is you really have to understand just how important and how beneficial that real estate can be. And so what greater person to have in here with me today than you to kind of talk about that. We were talking off the air on how you can take some of these tools and implement it into your savings portfolios and strategies and really set yourself up for retirement. Will you just talk about that a little bit?
Well, I just said that there's very low risk in real estate. And if you have the fear of buying property because you don't know what you're doing, then either get with a realtor that you can trust, and there are people out there that are good, and go to John Larson, who that's his business, looking for value properties where you buy them below market. And it doesn't have to be way below market to make a good investment in real estate.
Watch this, Howard, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen some of the best deals in real estate be purchased above market value. And with appreciation and some of the other write-offs, they still win.
That is true.
So the numbers don't lie in the real estate game. And you're a numbers guy, right?
I try to be.
Well, I want you to talk about maybe just some examples of people that you know that have used real estate as a hedge in their investment portfolios. They weren't afraid to get off the sidelines and get in the game. Have these people lived comfortably? I mean, do they live good lives?
I have seen people that started that way and it ended up being that's their main source of income for the rest of their lives. And I'm talking about people that I've seen start with relatively low and end up with over $20 million in the 70s in small towns.
Sure.
I mean, it's, to be blunt, most of the, and I'm going to pick on my religion now, Jewish. Okay, the people that I know that are Jewish, very few of them, in fact, I can't think of one, I'm sure there were some, that made it in the stock market. But not the stock market, I'm sorry, software. Software investing like Bezo with Amazon or something like that. But there's few and far between of those Bezos and Bill Gates with Microsoft. The people that I know that have, general people that have made it wealth, it's all been real estate.
All been real estate.
All been real estate.
My God. And the great part about real estate is it doesn't care what you look like, what your gender is, what your color is. You can get in the game.
And there's one thing that is great that we haven't even touched on for tax advantage. If you have children that you want to leave stuff to, when you die and you own this property, let's say you bought a piece of property for $100,000 and it's now worth $300,000. They get a step up in basis. It is now worth $300,000 to them for tax purposes. So they just made for your kids $200,000 tax free.
Well, what you're telling me then is, if you don't get off the bench and stop being afraid and get in the real estate game, you're not just cheating yourself, you're cheating your legacy. You're cheating your children. Now, I want y'all to wrap your minds around this. And this is the motivational moment. If this don't motivate you, you're not motivatable, right? if you can't go and look at your grandchildren and have a desire or a passion to leave something significant for them, right? If you can't go look at your children and have that same desire and passion to want to leave something significant, for them, God bless you. Maybe real estate is not for you. Maybe just giving is not for you. But if you look at them and you want to do something great, and you want to leave them something that'll far, I guess, supersede your lifetime, and even your children's lifetime, if done properly, real estate is the way. So don't be afraid. Don't allow fear. Don't allow the cost of fear to be so great in your life that your children have to pay for it. Your children can't go out and do what they want to do because they got to take a job immediately just to pay the bills. Be that uncle, be that grandfather, that parent that leaves their children enough resources where they can truly go out and do what it is their heart desire would like to do.
Well, I think that's a great motivational speech. And like I said before, if you do have a fear that you can't pick the properties, believe me, there are people around like John that can do that for you. Just go see John or somebody. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out, this piece of property is worth XYZ and I'm not getting taken. And like I said before, it's about a secure investment. As I know, in fact, I'll rephrase that. It is the most secure investment I know.
Howard, love it, and I'm gonna take it from there. It's all about working with the right team. That's why I started the Real Estate Cowboys. So if you are out there listening to this show and you are interested in this, rental properties sound good to you, all the tax benefits and the deductions that are available to you as a landlord, all you got to do is go to realestatecowboysdfw.com and just put your information in, and you'll get a package from us that talks about all these passive income opportunities in real estate. And you'll also be able to speak with a member of our team. And we also have a really cool quiz on our website where I call it my passive investor quiz. You just answer 10 questions, and it tells you what type of investor you are. Do you like private money lending? You want something that's a little bit more
Takes
safe.
all the guesswork out of it.
Right, a little bit more safe, a lot more passive. Maybe you're a private money lender. Maybe you're a guy that wants to see, these great returns that we just talked about today that you can get through owning property, through owning rentals. Then maybe you're a single-family rental guy. Or maybe you are someone that wants to use the property and you like to go on vacations and you're about to retire or you are retired. Maybe vacation rentals. Maybe the idea of Belize is best for you. Go on and take that quiz and find out what type of passive investor you are.
Yeah, and we do want to mention, if you guys have any questions at all, if you just have a question we haven't covered here on one of the shows, if you have a question for
Even
Howard.
for Howard, yeah.
Yeah, for John or Johnny, we do check the inbox there, and it's going to be one of us. We're going to be the ones who are going to get back to you. So make sure to head to realestatecowboysdfw.com. Howard, thank you so much for being with us today.
I was glad to be here.
All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you next Sunday at 8 o'clock. Have a great day.
All opinions expressed by the hosts of the show are the opinions of American Real Estate Investments, LLC, and do not reflect the opinions of guests or sponsors. No personal or professional advice heard on this program should be considered an endorsement to follow a real estate financing or investment strategy. Before acting on any information, seek advice from your financial, tax, mortgage, or real estate advisor, as the information is not guaranteed and investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.